Hey guys, Mark from Gunpla Network here, and today I'm back with my work in progress update video on the HGUC GM Type C conversion into the GM WagTail from Advance of Zeta. So as you can see, the guy's spinning around here in front of you. He's all primed up at the moment, and that's about as far as I've gotten. I know it's been a few months since the unboxing video and the review of the Type C video, but I've been pretty slammed over Christmas, New Year's, you know, typical family sort of stuff. But I'm back at it now. I have this guy lined up to paint in the very near future, so I'll be able to get back to you with that. I have a feeling there's going to be a hell of a lot of masking involved with it, just going off of the images from the guide that I've seen. But I guess it depends. I'm kind of going for a kind of a monotone color, maybe with some red or some blue on the suit overall. But anyway, today's video I'm just going to be talking about what I did to get it to this state from what you can see back here, the GM Type C, what it originally looked like, to what it looks like now. So let me just turn the spinning off. This is him in his wagtail form with what I've got here is his weapon shield. There are actually no beam sabers. I guess if you wanted to pose him with a beam saber, you are going to have to use the beam saber that came with the original kit that pulls out of here, because the beam sabers you actually see on the shoulders are fixed, and it's a very fine clearance of underneath between the shoulder and the beam saber itself. I scribed that out to get like a clearance between there. And on the back of the shield there are a couple of beam sabers as well, but they're also fixed. So there are actually no beam sabers with the parts update, and you only get one with the original kit and one red detail part for the beam saber. So that's interesting on that one. But to get to this state, what did I have to do? Okay, so what I'll show you is here in front of me, I've got a ton of leftover parts, and you'll be able to see the difference. So here in front of you, you can see I've got two shoulders, two forearms, a back skirt, a head, two ankle pieces with the guards on the front of them, two front skirt pieces, the front crotch, the side skirt pieces, the inner part of the chest vent, two leg pieces, the backpack with the beam saber but no thrusters, and the weapons and shield. So that's what is left over once you convert your GM Type C into the wagtail. This is him after you've upgraded. Now, if you're considering getting this kit, it's probably not for beginners, because while it is a runner full of parts, you have to do some polycap swapping to get it to its best looks. Like here on the front of the knees and legs, the forearms, there's some seams you'll want to remove those. So glue and putty I did have to use. I went over 2-3 times on some areas. I did some chisel scribing, removing, like I said, under here to get the detail to make it look like the beam sabers were able to be lifted out of the shoulders without actually, and I've actually added a couple of vent pieces on the backpack, as well as I've drilled a couple of holes in the front crotch area there. You'll see I'm going to add some screw details. I ran my chisel over the vent, the collar piece, to just more define the lines. So there is a bit of work to be done, and we'll go over that now. The new shield is obviously a lot shorter compared to the old GM Type C shield. Both detailed on the back. This one includes beam sabers in there, and you do use some existing parts to attach that to the arm. The weapons, so not that you couldn't use the existing weapons like the bazooka, I think it's a 90mm bullpup machine gun, but it's actually not I guess themed with the kit. So what we have here now is a beam rifle, more akin to what the RX-78 carried originally. Now the scope will move around. All I've done is, as you can see there, I have just removed the seams because it came as 2 sandwich parts with the scope there, which is why I say it's probably like some other rifles underneath as well you've already assembled. So I'll just paint that up and detail that. Not sure if I'm going to drill that out and use a gem for the scope yet. I'm not sure. Might just paint it while I paint the head sensors as well. Let's go on to the head. So I haven't put the piece in behind yet, which is the inner camera, which I have painted silver behind that. But it's pretty much like the existing GM head, just slightly more beefier, like a powered GM head. Whoop. So hard to hold these things with gloves, guys, sorry. So you can see there. This just looks a bit nicer, a bit beefier. Twin antennas instead of just one. Some nice side pieces. Kind of reminds me of like a Spartan helmet or something. I'm not sure why, but yeah, it's really cool. The chest is the front and back pieces, the cockpit hatch. They're actually, this is the original chest torso area, but what we do have is the new inner vent pieces there for the chest. And I believe what that is meant to kind of hide behind those is they would open up and reveal thrusters if this was an MG or something, I guess. But much like the GPO-1 would have had chest thrusters for maneuvering and braking. What I did was I didn't have a BMC chiseling tool that specifically turns seam lines into panel lines, but I've taken my knife blade and some sanding sticks and gone around, and I've made that a detail line instead of just being a seam line. The arms and shoulders, so the new shoulder pieces are highly more detailed. You have beam sabers now molded into the top, which, like I said, all I've done there is just, you can see a slight gap chiseled and scraped around to that, so that you can now believe that the beam sabers could actually be removed. Side of the arm there, you have a flap that would hide like a dust cover or a thruster cover, I guess, in a more detailed kit, but this is HG, so they go in and out to allow the arm to either raise up or come down. Articulation is much the same as the original kit, so we won't really go too much into that today. You can spin the arm the whole way around, it will go the whole way around, still there's no limitation there. The forearms, I've just removed the seam line on the front and on the back. They still have the degree of bending. It's actually the same polycaps and joints in this kit now. Front skirt is now, that's new, more detailed. I've replaced the front, and you can do that all the way up. The side skirts are now more detailed. The rear skirt is now more detailed, and the that part, the inner thruster part, carries over. While we're at this angle, we will go into this guy now, instead of just having the rear cover thruster and the 4 thrusters on the backpack. Now has a new style backpack, which I have added side vents to there that you can see in the little gap that was a little plain. I've removed the seam line from sandwiching that piece together. Thrusters there, and you now have thrusters on the backs of the legs, which are really cool, kind of Sheedan-like from IBO almost. You now have more detail there, I guess you can see on the back of the leg. Cables, more vents on the legs. The legs are now much beefier than they were. Once again, like I did up here, I actually went to the side and thought, well, instead of just sandwiching this and removing it all together, I have now made that seam line more of a panel line. So it looks more detailed. So I guess in an RG, that if you were moving this leg all the way up, it would actually expose the frame, but it's a HG, there's no real frame inside, so we don't want to do that. The leg will still move the way it should. Now the ankles on this are more detailed. You don't have a thruster cover, sorry, a cover across the ankles, like a dust cover, but you have more detail. That was always the same on the sides, but there's now like, I guess you would say, piston-like detail on the inner part of the leg there. The only thing I haven't actually attached yet, and I'm leaving that to the very, very end once all painting is done, is you should be able to see this little piece here. That's like a hard point that goes in the front of the legs there. I attached this and then tried to remove it during the, you know, mock-up building and testing, and I snapped it getting it out and had to create a piece that dig that out of the front and then recreate that piece. So I wasn't keen to put that back in again and have that stuck down. So yeah, overall I'm pretty impressed. For, like I said, that I think that was it's an older kit. What was it, 2010, and then it was a 2011, 2012, something like that. Dengeki Hobby Magazine parts runner that Bandai made to convert this over for them, and yeah, you get left with a ton of spare parts, you know, weapons and shields that you can use with other kits. And this one ends up looking really cool. I really enjoy the look of this kit. I love the powered GM, and this is right up along those lines of a beefy looking, you know, customized GM. So like I said, next few months I will get to painting this before mid-year, and we'll get another final, you know, work in progress finish video up for you. But definitely worth the spend if you can find it. I paid, I think it was, I'm gonna go with, the kit itself was about 20-25 Australian dollars, and it was about 30-35 Australian dollars for the upgrade parts runner, which the kit is obviously still in reprint. The parts runners, I have maybe had a reprint or something like that through the magazine, but it was through a magazine, not through Bandai, so you know, there's no regular schedule on that, making it harder to find, driving the price up. So overall, it's in Australian dollars nearly a $60, you know, GM HG kit, but it's kind of P Bandai like. It's limited, you know, not everyone has it. It'll look cool on your shelf. So yeah, if you're into GMs, HG and UC type stuff, this is definitely a kit for you guys to grab. All right, thanks for joining us, and I'll be back with another video shortly. Bye bye.